Back for another edition of the Jags Den Coach's Corner with Coach Will Smith, Spain Park Baseball. How are you doing today, Coach?
Doing great, George. It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day, and we've got some great baseball coming up this week. We got back-to-backs against Hoover, Military Appreciation Night tomorrow night, and then at home against Hoover, and then on the road this weekend up to Huntsville. But Tuscaloosa County last Tuesday, we talked a little bit. You wanted to see how the team responded coming off that weekend. You know, it seemed to be in it in most of the game, some hard-hit balls, but right at guys. But I think the biggest killer, and we've talked about it a couple times, is the walks, 9 walks. And but you're pretty clean in the field. But how do you kind of build off of that? Because it seemed like there were some positives in that game, but you got to cut out the freebies. That's what's killing you.
Yeah, absolutely. We when you and I talked on Monday, we knew that we were going to have our hands full. Very talented Tuscaloosa County team. It's always hard. It's an environment that's hard to play in. You go on the road. Against good opponents, venues like that are hard to play in. It's a 2-0 game. When we decide to take JR out, going into the 5th inning, and at that time, the 2 runs that were scored by Tuscaloosa County both got on by walks, and it was a 2-out hit, a 2-out single that drove in both runs. But at that time, early in the season, we felt like that. He'd kind of reached his max. Later on in the year, is it an opportunity that will extend him? Probably so. But it was also a good opportunity for Blake to be able to come in and get that experience. But offensively, we didn't do enough things right early on. I told the guys on Saturday, it felt like we gave away the first 15 outs of the game, and we really didn't start applying pressure until the 6th inning when we cut it to 6-3.
So, in that game you had the 9 walks, but you cut down the errors. This past weekend you guys played really well, won both your games. Only 1 walk combined between 2 games, but the errors were up. But the errors don't seem to impact the runs quite as much. Is that because the pitcher is putting it into where they can put it in play and they don't compound like multiple walks? Is that?
Yeah, I think that's definitely it. I mean, I think that for whatever reason. Whether it be a loss of focus, whether it be a Saturday we've been on the field for 2 games in a row. We're making multiple errors and at critical spots too. But offensively, we're able to overcome that this weekend. Scoring 23 runs in 2 games. But moving forward to win the games that we need to win, like I said last week. The games that we'll need to win, we're going to have to win. Find a way to win 4-2, 3-2. They're not going to be 9-8, 9-7 type games.
Getting back to Jared Thompson a little bit, watching him pitch last week, he did find a few spots of trouble, but he seems to have a little mentality where he bears down just a little bit more, gets a little extra focus, a little kind of an intangible where he just kind of is almost determined not to let it go any farther, and he seemed to work his way out of that. Do you see that kind of mentality out of him pretty much throughout everything he does on the field? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, he's a kid that, has been in pressure spots before, that does well in pressure spots. The thing that we're battling right now with JR is, his fastball will be somewhere between mid to upper 80s, but his breaking ball is good. His stuff is good, so he doesn't get a lot of early soft contact, which hurts his pitch counts. Okay. He threw 4 innings the other night, threw 90 pitches in 4 innings, but he had 9 strikeouts. So. Moving forward, guys like that, you want to have the other team, put the ball in play and create some soft contact early in the at bat, so you don't go through innings where you've thrown upper 20s, low 30s pitches.
I think Tuscaloosa County had another 5-pitch inning, So I mean that.
Yeah, the first inning was seven pitches, and that's what I got onto our guys about. Not only did we walk 9 guys, hit 2. But out of our 21 outs, we hit 14 fly ball outs, and the fly balls come here and there, and that's a lot of credit to their guy. But we've got to be a team that we hit the center of the ball, and we miss on top because I've said it before, we've got some athleticism in the lineup. We got some guys that can run and apply some pressure. But some of the weak fly balls that were hitting early in the game, led to the game being where it was late.
Yeah. Well, but you do have to again, it kind of got away there later, but they did fight back, but hit the gas just a little bit too late in that game against a team of that magnitude. But I think it was a good barometer for you. Wouldn't you agree? It's kind of a good barometer early in the season to see where you're at, what you need to work towards, and now you get in it, and now you get them again. I think in about 2 weeks, and now you kind of gonna be able to see, really put a measuring stick on if you've made those improvements you need to make.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking with a coach on Saturday. I mean, the funny thing about our sport is these games that we're playing right now in February, March, at the end of the day, they don't matter at all. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to prep to the 6 games that we play in April that get us ready to be playing our best at the critical time. So we could be 20-5 or 10-10 at that spot. It doesn't matter in April. So all of these things that we're doing right now is to prepare the guys for when that April run happens, that they're ready for it.
You do have the opportunity to get some preparation, and kind of on that note, you never want to take, like in football, you never want to take points off the board, but, we're sitting close to the dugout. Saw you getting some guys up, maybe to get some guys late in that game, and then Cole Edwards hits a base clearing triple to run rule. I mean, as a coach, you love to win that game and get out of there, but does you kind of cringe just a little bit because you had the intention to get some guys some work to prepare them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to get guys experience. You want to get them the opportunity and give them the opportunity to go out there and play and because that's what this is designed for them to have fun and enjoy it. So when a situation like that does happen, it's great that we win. It's great that but then you do miss the opportunity to get some other kids in the game.
Yeah, but I don't think you're ever going to tell any player to take a triple and three RBIs off the board.
Right. It's hard for me to stop them. When they're winding the bases and the center fielder's still chasing the ball.
Yeah, so. But it seemed like even some of the outs that we got on Saturday in both games, they were quality outs. Moving base runners, putting it on the ground. Even some guys just putting it in play and getting on in an air, and doing that. And it seemed like there were a lot more, while we had the outs, there were a lot more quality outs. Is that something you kind of stressed in practice last week?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we get caught up in offensively, how many hits did I have that day? How many RBIs did I have that day? We're trying to stress how many quality at-bats did you have that day? We can have quality at-bats and go 0 for 4. And that's the thing, having kids understand the roles that we need them to play within and the offensive scheme that we're trying to play within. Kids cannot go in there, 1 through 9 in the order and free swing. I mean, it's just not something that we're accustomed to. It's just not something that we teach. We have to play within a system. We have to play within an offensive system. So to see that, to see the moving runners with a runner at second base and no outs, and to see a ground ball to second base with a runner at third, less than 2 outs, those are good at bats. Those are quality at bats, and those are things that we're looking for more of moving forward.
Evan Smallwood last week, we talked about it when we were doing the game. Come up down 6-0, lead off senior. Leads off that inning and had a really disciplined at bat come up, and they want to do everything they can and take hacks at it. And I think he ended up walking with a 3-1 count. But really disciplined at bat, laid off some pitches that were close, got on. Cole Edwards hits the home run. You get another run, and you got to like that disciplined at bat kind of set the tone. Did you see the same thing?
Oh, you're exactly right. I mean, Evan Smallwood through 2.5 weeks of the season has had tons of selfless at bats. I don't know what the state record is for hit by pitches in a 2.5 week span, but he's got to be close to that record. He's finding ways on. He's walking. He's getting hit by pitches. He's working the count, and that's what you want out of your leadoff hitter. We want to see a lot of pitches there, and set the table for the guys behind him that are RBI type guys and put them in RBI situations. So, yeah, I mean, he's done exactly what we've needed him to do from this team standpoint. And like I said, I think it's very selfish. I mean, selfless because any kid wants to go up there and hit. Yes, we need him to hit. There are times that we need him to hit and drive in runs with runners in scoring position, and he's very capable of doing that. But he's also taken a very valuable role that we've needed for him to be on base. His on-base percentage is well over 500, and that's something that we need that spot to continue to do.
So as we mentioned, 2 games. You got a game tomorrow night at Hoover, then home against Hoover. JV will play for both games, and I believe freshman is actually playing at Hoover tomorrow as well. But what are the goals for the week? What are we looking to improve on this week?
Just improve. I mean, moving forward, the competition, the arms that we'll see will only get better and better. And we got our first taste of it. I felt on Tuesday night was playing in what was simulated like an area game. The JV plays first, varsity follows, good crowd. Hopefully we'll be able to keep the weather like it is right now, and to get them accustomed to that type of routine. And I've preached this over and over. You can't win a game in the first inning in an area game, but you can lose it in the first inning. And you got to be ready to play because you're only guaranteed so many at bats, and you give away an at bat or two, and you look up and it's like we was the other night. We're in the 6th inning, and we're fighting for our lives. So we got Hoover tomorrow night, Military Appreciation Night, which we're very excited about. And on Wednesday night we got Hoover here. And we will have the opportunity to honor 2 of our former players, Chris Ellis, who was our first big leaguer that went through our program, had the opportunity to play professional baseball and actually made it to the big leagues, as well as Mikey White, who graduated in 2012. He was our first Mr. Baseball in the state of Alabama. So it'll be a good opportunity to see them, see their families. We've honored them this year with their numbers on the wall, and that's something that's really, really cool to see. That'll be something that'll be up, and they'll be able to show their kids, their grandkids one day. But like I said, 2 former players that we'll have the opportunity to honor this Wednesday night. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them and having them back around the program. So it's something exciting as a head coach. You get caught up in games and things, but so much of what I do is in the people business. To have kids like that come back is a special thing.
Thanks for joining us today, Coach. Good luck this week, and go Jags.
Go Jags.